Welcome to your deep dive. We're cracking open Midnight and Blue by Ian Rankin. And let me tell you, this murder mystery, it's a real head-scratcher.
Oh, absolutely.
We, of course, won't spoil the ending for you.
Right.
But get ready to dissect some of the most intriguing parts of this investigation. The stuff that really gets those gears turning.
Yeah, the stuff that stays with you.
Exactly. Okay, so picture this. We're in a Scottish prison.
Already a tense setting.
Oh, incredibly. And just when you think it couldn't get more intense, bam! Prisoner Jackie Simpson turns up dead in his cell.
A locked room mystery in a prison. Talk about a challenge.
Right? I mean, with the strict security, how could anyone pull that off? But it's more than just the murder, isn't it? It's the whole atmosphere Rankin creates within those prison walls.
Absolutely. The prison itself becomes like another character, this pressure cooker of simmering tensions, hidden alliances. You can practically feel the paranoia oozing from the pages.
Totally. You keep waiting for that other shoe to drop, And with characters like Daryl Christy, a powerful inmate who wants to control everything and everyone.
And you can't forget his rival, Everett Harrison, who has ties to that dangerous figure on the outside, Shay Hanlon.
Right, Shay Hanlon. It's like tossing a lit match onto a pile of kindling.
And into this powder keg walks John Rebus.
Our main man. But he's not exactly having a relaxing holiday, is he?
Not at all. Here he is, an ex-cop wrestling with his past, stuck navigating this world where everyone's a suspect. He's got the prison governor breathing down his neck, desperate to avoid a full-blown riot.
Right. Talk about pressure.
And then you've got his old colleagues trying to solve the murder while also trying to keep their distance. And if that wasn't enough, there are whispers of underworld figures, people like Hanlon, sensing an opportunity in all the chaos. It's classic Rebus, caught in the middle of a web of intrigue.
And outside those prison walls, we have Rebus's former colleague, Siobhan Clark, leading the official investigation. But even she's got her work cut out for her.
Oh, absolutely. Clark's investigation is a perfect example of how Rankin masterfully weaves together these different threads.
It's one of the things he does best.
You've got uncooperative prison staff, tight-lipped inmates. How do you solve a murder when everyone's a suspect and no one's talking? It's a puzzle within a puzzle.
And just to add another layer of complexity, she's also got the disappearance of this local schoolgirl, Jasmine Andrews, on her plate. At first glance, it seems totally unrelated, but...
This is Rankin we're talking about. Things are never as simple as they seem. It's like he's dropping these breadcrumbs, these seemingly insignificant details that start to connect the dots between events and people you never would have put together.
And those breadcrumbs lead to a really dark place, don't they?
Yeah.
Because then we have another murder, Zach Campbell. This time, it's a local celebrity found dead in his home. Turns out, Campbell was running an online exploitation ring, and guess what? Evidence points to Jasmine Andrews being involved.
Yeah, that's where the story takes a sharp turn. The discovery of Campbell's operation, this website he calls Young Fresh East Coast, adds this unsettling undercurrent to everything.
Chilling, really.
It really makes you think about the dark side of the internet, how things that appear harmless can hide a much more sinister reality. And the way Rankin portrays the victims, especially Jasmine, is heartbreaking.
Absolutely. But just when you think you've got a handle on things, Clark uncovers a link between this whole online operation and, get this, the prison. Turns out Campbell's tech guy, Tommy Simpson, is the cousin of Marcus Simpson, a key witness in the prison murder. Remember him? He was connected to both the victim, Jackie, and Everett Harrison.
It's brilliant how Rankin does that, how he connects these seemingly separate worlds. The murky underbelly of prison life and this online world of exploitation makes you wonder who's pulling the strings, doesn't it? Who benefits from all of this?
It's like he's constantly upping the stakes.
Exactly, and that's just the beginning.
And as if we don't have enough to think about already, then there's this mysterious figure, Valerio. A high roller on Campbell's website, obsessed with Jasmine, demanding darker and darker content, pushing the limits.
That's what gets me about Campbell, though. He's clearly in it for the money, but even he has lines he won't cross, refusing to go as far as Valerio wants, even turning down huge sums of money. It makes you wonder, who is this Valerio? What lengths is he willing to go to?
Right. And all this time, Rebus, stuck in prison, he somehow gets dragged deeper into the investigation.
Classic Rebus.
He's got limited resources, obviously, but he still manages to use those connections, gather information, even orchestrates this whole risky plan to access evidence hidden within the prison. Resourceful, to say the least.
He's a master at working the system, even from the inside. But that also makes him a target, doesn't it? It's a dangerous game he's playing.
Oh, definitely. Walking that tightrope. But while he's doing his thing on the inside, on the outside, we have Christine Essen, Clark's partner, starting to get these really bad vibes about their colleague, DI Jason Mulgrew.
Essen's a sharp one, I'll give her that.
But she misses nothing.
Rankin does a brilliant job with her character. You're right there with Essen, feeling the suspicion build as she picks up on these little details, these inconsistencies that just don't add up.
And she's right to be suspicious, because it turns out those inconsistencies lead to a truly chilling realization.
Oh.
Essen confides in Clark, and it hits them both. Mulgrew's obsessive interest in the prison case, it all stems from his fear of being outed as Valerio.
It's a real aha moment in the story. Suddenly, all the pieces start to fall into place.
Like a punch to the gut, really.
This guy, hiding behind the anonymity of the internet, exploiting his own position of power for his own twisted desires. It's chilling. He had every reason to silence Campbell, frame someone else, and his access to the prison. Well, let's just say it would have been all too easy to dispose of any evidence.
Talk about a wolf in sheep's clothing. And the fact that he was so close, someone they trusted. Ugh, gives me chills just thinking about it.
And that's the thing about Rankin's writing. It reminds us that this isn't just a game. Mulgrew's actions have real consequences.
And nowhere is that more apparent than in the final confrontation with Mulgrew. This all goes down in the police station car park, and let me tell you, the atmosphere is thick with tension. Essen, Clark, Shaw, they confront Mulgrew, and the whole thing is just electric.
Talk about a pressure cooker. You've got Mulgrew completely caught off guard, trying to deny everything, but the women, they're not letting up. They can sense they've got him, and the desperation in his voice is palpable.
He tries to make a run for it, even tries to force Essen into his car with him. But Essen, she's incredibly quick on her feet. As Mulgrew is scrambling to escape, she manages to grab a diary from his car. And not just any diary. This one belonged to Jackie Simpson.
Talk about a game changer. That diary is the missing link, the connection between these seemingly separate cases, and Mulgrew knows it.
He completely loses it. But it's too late. The diary's out of his reach. He jumps into his car, disappears into the night. He's a fugitive now.
And the hunt is on.
Meanwhile, Rebus, he's still recovering from that beating. But he starts putting the pieces together. He realizes Harrison might not have killed Simpson directly, but he's definitely hiding something. But it's more than just Harrison, isn't it?
Oh, there's always more to it.
Rebus suspects someone else is pulling the strings, someone with influence within the prison walls.
It's like a chess game, and Rebus can see several moves ahead. He understands the power dynamics at play in a place like Sutton.
And then, just when you think things couldn't get any more complicated, Rebus uncovers another piece of the puzzle. Remember that missing camera footage from the night Simpson was murdered?
The one that everyone assumed was either erased or never existed.
Well, guess what?
They found it.
A DVD of the footage was hidden inside the TV in Simpson's cell.
No way.
And guess who found it?
Rebus.
You got it. That guy's a regular Sherlock Holmes.
That footage could blow the whole case wide open.
Exactly. I mean, it could reveal who actually killed Simpson, expose any conspiracies happening within the prison. Rebus knows how important this is, so he does the only thing he can think to do. He contacts the up and Clark.
Smart move.
He trusts her, knows she's the only one who can handle the truth. So Rebus is shaking things up on the inside. Meanwhile, Clark and Essen are back at Gayfield Square trying to track down Valerio and find Jasmine Andrews. But it's like chasing shadows,
And just when it seems like things couldn't get any worse, tragedy strikes. Peter Cowan, one of Campbell's clients, he commits suicide.
It's heartbreaking, really. A stark reminder of the devastating consequences of exploitation, the public shaming. It's a heavy weight to carry.
Absolutely. It really highlights the tightrope Clark and Essen are walking. They need to bring the people responsible to justice, but they also have a responsibility to protect the victims. It's a tough balance.
It really is. But just when it seems like they're hitting dead end after dead end, they get a break. Another one of Campbell's clients, Alexander Urquhart, reaches out to them. Turns out, Campbell was blackmailing him, demanding more and more money.
And his wife knew all about it.
Can you believe that?
It's chilling. It shows just how deeply this kind of darkness can run. Makes you question, who are the real monsters in this story? The ones committing the crimes or the ones who enable them, who turn a blind eye?
It's a question that lingers, doesn't it? So Clark and Essen, they decide to pay a visit to Tommy Simpson, Marcus's cousin. They're hoping he can shed some light on Valerio's true identity.
Tommy's an interesting character, isn't he? A bit of a tragic figure, really. You can see the guilt eating away at him. He knows what Campbell was doing was wrong, but he also feels this sense of loyalty to his
Well,
family.
absolutely. He's trapped, really. And during the interview, he reveals something pretty shocking. Turns out Campbell and Marcus had this huge falling out. Marcus refused to be a part of exploiting young girls, especially Jasmine.
It adds another layer to Marcus's character, doesn't it? He might have been involved in some shady stuff, but he had his limits.
Right. Even in that world, there were lines he wouldn't cross. Tommy also confirms that he helped Campbell set up the website, but he insists he has no idea about Valerio's real identity. He does mention that Valerio was obsessed with Jasmine, willing to pay a fortune for footage of her.
It reinforces the idea that Valerio wasn't just some random guy who stumbled upon the website. He had an agenda.
Oh, absolutely. A very disturbing agenda. Now, remember how Rebus found that hidden DVD in the prison's TV? Well, he also found something else, that library book, the one Jackie Simpson supposedly borrowed.
The one Rebus was asked to track down.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Rebus, he noticed something strange about the book. It was like it had been tampered with, maybe even examined by forensics.
So it wasn't just a random book. Maybe it was used to hide something, or maybe it contained information someone wanted to keep hidden.
And remember how Daryl Christy was so interested in that book, in Jackie Simpson?
Now that you mention it, he did seem to know a little too much about Simpson.
It all starts to add up, doesn't it? And as Rebus is piecing things together on the inside, Clark's having her own realization. She's starting to suspect that Valerio might be closer to home than they initially thought.
You mean someone within the police force?
Exactly. And Essen, she's having her own epiphany. Remember that song Rebus mentioned, Valerio, by Richard and Linda Thompson?
Oh, yeah, I love that song.
Well, the lyrics are about this fearless tightrope walker performing high above the crowd. And it hits Essen, that's Mulgrew. His confidence, the way he manipulates everyone, always thinking he's one step ahead.
And the song is called Valerio. It's like a subconscious clue.
Right. And suddenly it all clicks. Mulgrew's obsession with the prison case, his attempts to steer them away from Campbell's website, it all makes sense. He is Valerio.
That's terrifying, to think that someone they worked with, someone they trusted, could be capable of something like that.
It's a betrayal on a whole other level. And Essen knows she has to do something, so she confronts him. She, Clark, and Shaw, they confront Mulgrew in the police station car park.
I bet that was intense.
Oh, you better believe it. Mulgrew, he's completely caught off guard. At first, he tries to deny everything, but they've got him cornered. The evidence is right there.
What does he do?
He panics, tries to force Essen into his car. He's desperate to escape, to avoid facing the consequences. But Essen, she manages to grab a diary from Mulgrew's car as he's trying to get away. And it's not just any diary. It belonged to Jackie Simpson.
The plot thickens.
Mulgrew is frantic. He wants that diary back, but it's too late. Essen tosses it to Clark, and he's left with nothing. He jumps into his car and disappears.
Leaving them with even more questions than they started with.
And that's where Rankin leaves us, with Mulgrew on the run and a whole lot of unanswered questions. It's a story that stays with you long after you finish the last page.
It certainly does.
But here's something to think about. Do you think we've seen the last of Mulgrew? Or is he out there planning his next move?
That's for us to ponder, I suppose.
Exactly. And on that note, we're wrapping up our deep dive into Midnight in Blue. Thanks for joining us.
Until next time.